declare cursor. So how to declare the cursor plus how to open, how to fetch. A fetch statement fetches only one record at a time, but to process multiple records, fetch statement should be executed multiple times. So fetch statement should be inside a loop. So once fetching is completed, what the next one is closing cursor. Okay. Then once fetching is completed, closing the cursor. How to close cursor? Close cursor, cursor name. Close cursor name. Then example close C1. Cursor is closed. Okay. So cursor is closed. Once cursor is closed, you cannot access the data. Once cursor is closed, you cannot access the data stored in the cursor. Next. What the next one is? Deallocating cursor. Then deallocating cursor. So deallocate C1 cursor name. Deallocate cursor name. So cursor is deallocated. Then deallocate C1. Cursor is deallocated. Memory allocated for the cursor is released. Once you deallocate whatever memory is allocated for cursor, cursor is occupying some memory. That memory is what released. Your cursor is closed means you cannot access the data stored in the cursor. Now once deallocated means that memory is also released. Okay, then. So these are the 5 steps you have to follow if you want to use cursor. Declare, open, fetch, close, deallocate. Okay, then now. Okay, let's see one example. Then, and before going to the example, there is one, what is that is fetch status. We'll discuss this, then after that we'll go to the example. Fetch status. So double @fetch status. Double @fetch status. Okay, then what this is double @fetch status. Okay, na? So actually, see, in here variables are prefixed with what? @ Variables are declared with @. But if any variable is prefixed with double @, that is called system variable. This variable is called system variable. User defined variables are what? User defined. This is user defined variables. User defined variables are prefixed with single @. If it is a double @ means it is a system variable. System variables are prefixed with double @. What is this variable returns? So this is a system variable that returns, okay, na? Then status of fetch. It is a system variable that returns status of fetch. So it is a system variable that returns fetch status. Fetch status, status of fetch. System variable that returns fetch status. Okay, then so then, and this fetch status returns what? 0, -1. This returns 0 or -1. this variable returns what the value of this variable is, either 0 or -1. 0 means what? 0 means what, sir? Fetch is what? Unsuccessful. Sorry, fetch is successful. -1 means fetch is unsuccessful. 0 means fetch is successful. -1 means fetch is unsuccessful. Zero means fetch is successful. -1 means fetch is unsuccessful. So system variable that returns 0 or -1. 0 means successful. -1 means fetch is unsuccessful. Okay. Then, sir, what is said? Fetch statement is what? Inside a loop. Fetch statement is executed one time or multiple times. Fetch statement is executed what? So then, just a minute. See, here actually, sir, this is the cursor. What is cursor contains? Records. Suppose say 14 records, 7369, 7499, 7521, 7566, like this, all the 14 employees, 7934 something, all the 14 employees data stored in cursor C1. What is it? This cursor contains two more. One is BFR, another one ALR. BFR means before the first row. ALR means after the last row. Initially, where is the cursor? So the cursor is pointer is at what? Cursor is at before the first row. Now, what you are doing is in your program, you are taking a while loop. In while loop, you are writing the fetch statement. So fetch statement is inside a loop. So first time this fetch statement fetches what? First time this fetch statement is executed. First time this fetch statement is executed, this cursor is moved to what? Like, let's see, this is the cursor. Then, so this is the cursor. This is the cursor. Cursor C1. Initially, cursor C1 is at before the first row. When fetch is executed, the cursor is moved to what? First row. Cursor is moved to first row, and it will fetch first row. The first record is fetched to the program. It is there in the cursor. From cursor, it is fetched to the program. First time this fetch statement is executed. Next, second time this fetch statement. Now fetch is successful or unsuccessful? Fetch is successful. Then continue the loop. Fetch successful, continue. Again, fetch statement fetches what? Next record. So when fetch next is executed, this cursor is moved to what? Next record. Next record. And the next record is fetched. And the values are copied to this program. Okay, fetch is successful. Then continue the loop. Again, fetch next is executed. Again, the cursor is moved to what? Next record. Cursor is moved to next record. And the next record is fetched. Like again, fetch is successful. Continue the loop. Like that. So now fetch statement fetches 14th record. Record is 14th record. Successful. Continue the loop. Fetch statement fetches this next record. But next record is there or not there? Not there. Fetch is unsuccessful. Record is not there. Fetch is what? Unsuccessful. Then fetch is unsuccessful. Then, so fetch status returns what, sir? -1. Then terminate the loop. When fetch successful, continue the loop. When fetch is unsuccessful, stop the loop. But how do you know fetch is successful or unsuccessful? By using what? Fetch status. The fetch status gives whether fetch is successful or not. Fetch status returns what? 0 means fetch successful. Fetch status returns -1 means fetch is unsuccessful. Okay, that's all. This is how it is useful. That means fetch status is used for loop conditions. Okay, na? Fetch status is used for what? Loop conditions. Okay, then. So useful for loop conditions. So fetch status is used for loop conditions. Loop condition. So based on the fetch status, we'll continue, we'll stop the loop. So fetch status is 0, continue the loop. Fetch status is -1, stop the loop. Okay, then Next. So what are the next one? See, let's see one example. Example cursor program. Now, suppose here, write a program to print all employee names and salaries. Write a program to print all employee names and salaries. Write a program to print all employee names and salaries. So I don't want, okay, then see what I want is I'm not one employee. I'm not asking for one employee. I want what? All the employees. If I ask one employee, cursor is not required. But if I want multiple, then cursor is required. If I ask input employee number, print name and salary, cursor is not required because only one. But here I'm asking what? All the employee names and salaries. Cursor is required. Then what? See that. Declare. So when you want to use cursor, first follow the steps. Declare the cursor. How to declare the cursor? Follow the syntax. I given declare syntax. Declare what? C1. Declare C1 cursor for select. What do you want? Don't say star. Don't select all the data. Select only required data. Whatever data is required for the program, select only the data. What data is required? Name, comma, salary from EMP. So cursor is declared. So cursor is declared with select statement. So cursor is declared with select statement. Next one. Next one. Declare the required variables. After declare the required variables, I need two variables, one for name, one for salary. How to declare the variable? At the rate name, what? Varchar of 10. I need one variable for salary. Salary is what type? Money type. So I need two variables, one for the name, one for the salary. Because I'll fetch the data from cursor, I'll store the data into program variables. For storing this name and salaries, I need two variables, one for name, one for salary. What is the next one? Open C1. Open C1. Then open the cursor. Open C1. Then cursor. Open cursor. What is the next? Fetch. Fetch what? You have to follow syntax. I given syntax for all the statement. Fetch next from C1. Fetch next from C1. So what happens? When fetch next statement is executed, what happens? Sir, once again, see this. When fetch next is executed, what happens? When fetch next statement is executed, what happens is, then, no, initially, where is the cursor? Where is the cursor? Initially, where is the cursor? Cursor is at what? Before the first row. Before the first row. So initially cursor is here. Initially cursor is here. Now what you executed? Fetch next. When fetch next is executed, the cursor is moved to what? First row. Next row. And the next record is fetched. Actually, what is stored in cursor? What is stored in cursor? What you are storing in cursor? Name and salary. So 7369 is name, Smith. Next one is name, Allen. Is a name, Ward is a name, Jones, like that. So what is stored in cursor is name and salary. First time, this fetch statement fetches first row. First row. First row is fetched from cursor. And this row contains how many values? The first row is fetched. This row contains how many values? Two values. One is what? Number. One is what? Name. Store the number into, name and salary. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Name and salary bus. Okay. Once again, we are not storing the number. We are storing what? Name. And we are storing the salary. This is the name, salary. What the salary of this Smith is what? 800. This is 1600. This is 1250. This is 2975. Like name and salaries. What we are storing in cursor is name and salary. First time this fetch statement fetches first record, and this record consists of how many values? Two values. Assign the first value to one variable, second value to one variable. Then what? First value bars name at the rate name. Next one comma at the rate salary. So this name Smith is assigned to this variable. The salary 800 is assigned to this variable. The name Smith is assigned to this variable. Salary is assigned to this variable. Then what is the next? Okay, na? While what? While what? Fetch status equal to 0. Then begin. While at the rate fetch status equals to 0. So that means what? I'm just continue this loop. Fetch is what, sir? Successful. Sir, first time this fetch statement fetch is successful or not? Yes. First record is fetched, fetch is successful. What about this condition? True. Then enters into loop. What do you want to do? I want to print what's the name and salary. Print at the rate what? Name plus space. I want to print salary. So cast at the rate sal as varchar. So printing the name and salary. First record is fetched. First employee name and salary is printed. After that, I want second record. Then first one is completed. First record is fetched bus. This name and salary is printed. Next, I want second record. Then again what? Again what? Fetch. Now, so this fetch statement fetches what? This fetch statement fetches what? Second row. Again, this fetch next is executed. When the fetch next is executed, then fetch next is executed. This cursor is moved to what? Next record. The cursor is moved to next record, and the next record is fetched. And these values are assigned to what? Two variables. Now this time, what is assigned to name? Alan. What is assigned to salary? 1600. What about fetch status? 0. Condition true. Loop is continued. Prints name and salary. And fetch statement fetches what? Third record. So this third record is fetched. Okay. Now the values are assigned to this variable. What is assigned to at the rate name? Ward. What is assigned to at the rate sal? 1250. What about this condition? True. And prints what? Name and salary. Like that. This is continued up to 14 times. Next, fetch statement fetches 15th row. 15th row. So 15th row is there or not there? Not there. So fetch is what? Unsuccessful. When fetch is unsuccessful, fetch status returns -1. What about this condition? False. And the loop is what? Terminated. That's all. So what is n? Then once completed, close the cursor. Next one, deallocate the cursor. That's all. Fetch. Hello. Okay. And okay. Now, so first, like cursor is what declared, declaring the cursor. Cursor is declared with select statement. Next one, declare variables, open the cursor. When cursor is open, what happens? When cursor is open, what happens is the select statement is what executed. The select statement is executed. The data written by the select statement, where is the data? The data is there in table. So the data is copied to cursor. The data is there in table. The data is copied to cursor. But what data is copied to cursor? Not all the data, only the names and salaries. Only this query output is copied to cursor. This query output is copied to cursor. After copying the data to the cursor, what is the next one? What is the next one? Next one, you are what? You are after copying the data to the cursor. What you are doing? Fetching the next. First time, where is the cursor? First time, where is the cursor? Cursor is at before the first row. When fetch next is executed, the cursor is moved to what? First row. Cursor is moved to first row, and this first record is fetched from cursor. But this row contains how many values? Two values. First value is assigned to the variable name. Second value is assigned to variable sal. So the Smith is assigned to @name. The salary 800 is assigned to @sal. But what about this fetch is successful? Fetch status returns what? 0. Condition what? True. Then prints what? Name and salary. After that, so next first record is completed. But why you are using the cursor? You are using the cursor to process multiple rows. Then again, I want to fetch next record. Then I want to fetch next record. Then fetch next is executed. When fetch next is executed, this cursor is moved to what? Second row. And the second row values are fetched. The values are assigned to these variables. The values are assigned to this variable. What is assigned to @name? What is assigned to @name? Name. So what the name is? Alan. What is assigned to @sal? 1600. Condition what? True, because fetch is successful. Prints name and salary. Alan 1600. Next one. Fetch statement fetches what? Fetch statement. When fetch next is executed, the cursor is moved to what? Third record. And third record is fetched. The values are assigned to these variables. Then, so what about this condition? True. The loop is what? Continued. So this is continued how many times? 14 times. And fetch statement. So fetch next is executed. So fetch next is moved to 15th row. 15th row. 15th record is fetched. But 15th record is there or not there? Not there. Fetch is what? Unsuccessful. What is best status returns? -1. Condition what? False. And the loop is terminated. So once completed, I don't need the cursor. I don't need the memory. So cursor is closed and memory is what? Released. That's all. So this is what, how to use cursor. So run this program. Run this. So it is printing all the 14 employee names and what? Salaries. So not one employee, all the 14 employees. Okay. Then next. Then now suppose, for example, just see, write a program to print, write a program to calculate total salary without using sum function. Write a program to calculate total sal without using sum function. Write a program to calculate total salary without using sum function. That means in this example, don't use what? Sum function. Don't use sum function. Without using the sum function, calculate the total salary. Okay, then. So now, what is the logic? Okay, na? Then what the logic is? See, simple. Logic is what? Okay, then. Sir, here you do one thing. First, what? Like first, what? Store. Take a cursor. Take what, sir? Cursor. In cursor, store salaries. In cursor, take cursor, store salaries in cursor. So this is the cursor. In cursor, store salaries. What is the salary? 800, 1600, 1250, 1250, 2975, 1250, like this. Store the salaries, all 14 employees' salaries. Okay. Now, take a variable. Take a what, sir? Variable at the rate T something, some variable. Now do one thing. With the first salary, with the first salary, add this 800 to this variable. With the first value, first salary, add it to this variable T. Now what is T? 800. Now get the second salary, add it to T. What is T now? 800 plus 1600. Already T is 800. I'm saying add the value to T. 1600 plus T. Then T is already 800. 1600 plus T. 2400. Get the third salary, add it to variable T. 2400 plus 1250. 3650. 3650. Like fourth salary, fifth salary, like this. So finally, what is T contains? What is finally T contains? Sum. Finally T contains what? Sum. That's a print T. This is the logic. But how to implement this logic? Okay. How to implement this logic in the program? Just see. Declare what? C1 cursor for select. What do you want? Salary. Salary from EMP. Next one. Declare the variable. What? At the rate what? T. Salary also. Take a variable for salary because we have to fetch the salary from cursor, store the salary into variable. At the rate T. T, what is this is? Money type. Both are money type. Next one. Open cursor. Open C1. When cursor is open, what is copied to the cursor? The select statement output. What is the select statement output? Salaries. Salaries are copied to the cursor. So see the salaries. Select the sal from what? EMP. This output is copied to the cursor. This is copied to the cursor. This output is copy to the cursor. Now first time fetch first salary. Fetch first salary. Assign that first salary to this variable t. Then how? Fetch next from C1 into at the rate what sal. Fetch next from C1 into at the rate sal. First time this fetch statement fetches what? First salary. What is the first salary? This one 920. 920 is assigned to what? At the rate sal. Now what is at the rate sal is 920. Yes or no? Now next one. Take a what's that? Loop. Take a loop at the rate what? Fetch status equals to 0. Cursor programming is same. Maybe logic changes. Calculations may be different, but programming is same. Fetch while next one. What you have to do? What is assigned to this at the rate sal? What is assigned to at the rate sal? First salary. What is assigned to at the rate sal? First employee salary. What is the first employee salary is 920. What I said, add this value to this variable t. Add this salary to the variable t. Then what? Set what? At the rate t equals to at the rate t plus at the rate what? Salary. The salary is added to the variable t. First time what is t? First time what is t? 920. 920 is assigned to t. Now get the second salary. Get the second salary 1920, because first salary is already added to the variable t. Now get the second salary. How to get the second salary? Again what? Fetch statement. Again fetch statement. So what this fetch statement fetches? Second salary. Second salary is assigned to at the rate sal. What is assigned to at the rate sal? 1920. What about this condition? True. Already t is what? 920. 920 plus 1920. 2000 what? 840. 2840. Okay. Then fetch statement fetches third one. What is the third one? 1500. So then condition true. T is already what? 2840 plus 1500. Okay, na? Then 4300. Yes or no? 4340. Understood? Then like fetch statement fetches what? Next one 4400. Condition 2, like added to this t. So finally what is t contains? Finally t contains what? Total salary. Print total salary. Print what? At the rate what's that? T. Then close C1. Next one, deallocate C1. Then okay. Now run this program. Then okay, run the program. Actually, what is the sum salary? 34,681 point something. When you run the program also, you should get the same out. Yes. Now run the program. Okay. Then now same program. So run this, but it's showing null. Output is null. Why? I should print 34,000 something now, but it's printing null. Why? First time, what is T? First time, what is T? First time, what is T? Null. T is what? Null. Then open C1. Fetch next. First salary. What is the first salary? 920. 920 is assigned to @sal. Condition true. 920 is added to T. What is T? Null. Null plus 920. Null. Null plus something. Null. Null minus something. Null. Null into something. Null. Okay, na? Then what is T? What is T? Null. Null. Null plus 920. Null. Next time, fetch statement fetches second one. 1920. Condition true. What is T? Null. Null plus 1920. Null. Next time 1250. 1500. Condition true. 1500 plus null. Then null. Then that's all. What? Finally, what is T? Null. That's all. Understood now? Then what you do? Initialize this with 0 equal to 0. This is how to initialize. Now first time, what is T? 0. 0 plus 920. 920. Because null plus something is null, but T value 0. 0 plus 920. 920. Yes. Now just only one. Add this. Initialize with 0. Then run this. 34,681. Yes or no? Because earlier, why? Because T is what? Null. Null plus something is what? Null. That's why it is the overall total is also null. So initialize with 0. Okay. Then that's it. Next one. What is write a program to print maximum salary without using max function. Without using max function. Write a program to print maximum without using max. This is without using some function. So write a program to print maximum salary without using max function. What? Then same thing, but logic is what? What is the logic? And like, see this here. Just a minute. Then, so first take a variable. Take a what's that? Variable. At the rate what? take a variable. So the variable is at the rate what, let's say variable name is max. Variable name is max. Then I want maximum salary. Initialize this max to 0. First get the first salary. First get the first salary. Compare this salary with max. Get the salary. Compare this salary with what? Max. If salary is greater than max, listen. If salary is greater than max, assign the salary to max. If salary is greater than max, assign the salary to max. What is the salary? 800. What is the max? 0. Is 800 is greater than 0? Yes. Assign 800 to max. Now what is max is now? 800. What is max is 800. Next one, 800. Now get the second salary. Get the second salary. What is the salary? 1600. Compare with what? Max. Assign that max to this salary. Assign the salary to max because it's greater than. Then what? Now what is max is now? 1600. 1600. Now get the third salary. Get the third salary. What is the third salary? 1250. So compare this salary with max. Is 1250 greater than max? No. 1250 greater than max? No. Then don't assign. If it is greater than, assign. Because I want to get maximum. Next one, 2975. Is 2975 is greater than max? Yes. Assign 2975 to max. What is max now? 2975. Like one of the salaries 5000. 5000 greater than 2975? Yes. Assign 5000 to max. Finally, what is max contains? Maximum salary. That's all. This is the logic. If you know, all these are like arrays, arrays. Find the sum of the elements in array. Find the maximum element in array. Find the minimum element in arrays. Okay, then. So now, like same thing. So take the salary. Once again, same thing, same program, but what the logic is? Logic is different. Once again, here I'm taking a variable. What is the variable? Max. Fed the first salary, assign the first salary to sal. Now here not adding. For total salary, this is the logic. For total salary, you have to write this statement, but not total salary. What do you want? Maximum salary. Then what? And compare. If what? Salary. Salary greater than what? Max. If salary is greater than max, assign the salary to max. Set what? Max equals to salary. Set max equal to salary. Now the salary is assigned to max. Yes. If salary greater than maximum, initially maximum is what? 0. Now what is the salary? 920. 920 greater than 0. Yes. Now what is max is 920. Second time, the second salary is fetched 1920. Condition true. What is salary? 1920. What is the max is 920. 1920 greater than 920. Condition true. Then what? What is assigned to max? 1920. Next 1500. Condition true. What is salary? 1500. 1500 is greater than 1920. Condition false. Then this is not executed. Fetches fourth salary like that. This is goes up to. Then one salary is the 5000. So is 5000 greater than max? Yes. What is max is 5000. Then print what's it? Print what? Max. Finally print the maximum salary. That's all. So this is the logic for what? This is the logic for maximum salary. Logic for maximum salary. So let me execute this. Then what is the maximum salary? 5500. That's all. So not using what's it? Functions. Our own program. Okay, then. Okay, that's this is what. Okay, then now next you try one, find minimum. Okay, now then what? Write a program to print what? Minimum salary. But it's not that easy as you think. So you think if I change this operator, I'll get the minimum. No. Okay, na? So try that. Okay, na? Then so write a program to print minimum salary. Because you assign this max to what? 0. If you change this operator less than, then 920 is less than 0. No. Always minimum is what? 0. That's why it will not work. This logic will not work. Okay, na? Write a program to print minimum salary. You try this. Okay. Next. Then just I'm giving some examples. What you are learning is accessing row by row. Okay. Accessing row by row. So accessing record by record from empty table, accessing first record, access second record, access third record. So if you want to access row by row, then we use cursor. We'll see one more example. Then we go to the next. See, just same example, this one. Okay, na? We already written this, but then the same example. Now, see, just 1 second. In the you already written this. Write a program to input what? Student number, calculate total average result, and insert into what? Result table. But in that example, how many students total average result is calculated? How many students total average result is calculated? Only one student. You see that example, what I said, input student number. That means only one student. But I want multiple students. Then write a program to calculate what? Write a program to calculate what? All the students total average result and insert into result table. Sir, previous example calculates only one student, but now I'm asking to calculate what? All the students. If one student, cursor is not required. All the students, what? Cursor is required. Okay. Now, and so what we take into the cursor, what we take declared C1 cursor for select. What is the aim of this program? Calculating total average result. For calculating total average result, what we need? We need student number, we need subject marks, we need 4, which student and marks. Student number, next one, S1, S2, S3 from table name is student. So this is what required from the table. So take the required data into the cursor. What data is required is I need this port. Take this data into cursor. Next one, declare the required variables. One variable for student number, one variable for subject marks, one variable for subject 2 marks, one variable for subject 3 marks, one variable for total, then this is integer, one variable for average at the rate AVG, this is float, declare float 5, 2, then next one result res char of 4. Okay, na? One variable for student number, one variable for subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, one variable for total, one variable for average, one variable for result. Next, after this, then what? Then open cursor, open C1, open the cursor. Next, fetch what's it? One by one record. Fetch next from C1 into what data? Fetch next from C1 into student number. Student number. So what is, see, what is copied to cursor? What is copied to the cursor? Listen, what is copied to the cursor? This select statement output is copied to the cursor. The select statement output is what? Student number, subject 1, subject 2, subject 3. So this will not be there in the cursor. Name is not there. Only what is there. Then this is the data copied to the cursor C1. Yes. Next one. What? Next. So first time the fetch statement fetches what? The first record. This first record. Fetch statement fetches first record. Assign these values to variables. Assign the student number into one variable. What is the next one? Subject 1. Assign the subject 1 into one variable. Subject 2 into one variable. Subject 3 into one variable. So fetch next from C1 into student number, subject 1, subject 2, subject 3. Next one. What the next one is? Fetch next from C1 into this. Then open C1. Open C1 while what? Fetch status equals to 0. Then begin. Fetch next from C1 into student number S1, S2, S3. Then fetch status equal to 0. Then okay, na? First student data is fetched, that is copied to these variables. Now you calculate the total. Our aim is to calculate the total and insert into result table. Yes or no? You have to insert into result table. Now calculate the total, assign the total into this variable. Calculate the average, assign the average into this variable. Calculate result, assign the result into this variable. Now, so what is set? Set what? Total equals to what? At the rate S1 plus at the rate S2 plus at the rate S3. So subject 1, subject 2, subject 3 marks are added. Result is assigned to total. Set what? Average equals to total by 3. Total by 3. So average is calculated. Okay, na? Total by 3. Average is calculated. Next, after calculating the average, then what? Result. Pass, fail. Okay, na? Pass, fail. Pass and fail. Individual subject marks greater than what? 35. Okay, na? Then what? If at the rate what? S1 greater than or equals to 35 and S2 greater than or equals to 35 and S3 greater than or equals to 35. Then set what? Result. Set result equals to what? Pass. Else set result equals to fail. Okay, then now you know the total. The total is there in the variable. First student total, first student average, first student result. Now, what is the aim? After calculating, we have to insert into result table. Yes or no? Then insert these values into result table. What is the field? Student number, total, average, result. Then insert into result table values. What is the first column? Student number. Here, where is the student number? At the rate SNBO. Total. At the rate total. Average. At the rate average. Result. At the rate result. First student is completed. First student record is fetched. You calculate the total average result and insert it into result table. Now second student. First student is completed. Second student. Again what? Again fetch. Again fetch the second student. The second student record is fetched. The second student record is fetched. It is assigned to number S1, S2, S3. Then condition true calculates what's it? Total. Calculates what? Average. Next one result. Then and what? Close C1. Next one deallocate C1. Close C1. Deallocate C1. That's all. Okay. Then wait. Open C1. Here okay. Not required. Here it's not required. Okay, then so run this. But before you run, first check tables are there. Selects are from student table. So selects are from what? Result table. I truncate this result table. Truncate table result. Result table is truncated. That means all the data from result table is what? Deleted. Selects are from result. Now result table is empty. So I calculate all the students' total average result, insert into result table. So 2 rows effective. See the table. Now select star from what? Result. Select star from result. So there are 2 students. It is calculated all the 2 students' total average result. Yes or no? Okay. Then. Okay. Then this is how to use cursor in your programs. Okay, whenever there is a requirement to access row by row from table, use cursor. But the cursor we use it, this cursor is called forward only cursor. This cursor is called what? Forward only cursor. It supports only forward navigation, but doesn't support what? Backward navigation. Okay, then. So here actually, suppose, let's see, for example, okay, na? You are at first record. Okay, then you are at first record. When fetch next is executed, cursor is moved to second record, next, third, fourth, 5. You're at fifth record. Can you go back to third record? You're at fifth record. Can you go back to third record? No, you cannot go back to the previous records. You can go to the next records, but you cannot go back to the previous one. Yes or no? That's why what this cursor is called? This cursor is called forward only cursor. This cursor is called what? Forward only cursor. It supports only forward navigation, but doesn't support backward navigation. Okay, then. So there is one cursor. What that cursor is? Scrollable cursor. There is a cursor. What that cursor is? Scrollable cursor. If cursor is scrollable, then it supports what? Forward and backward. A forward only cursor supports only forward navigation, but scrollable cursor supports what? Forward and backward navigation. Okay, then. So you are at fifth record. Can you go back to third record? Yes. Okay, then it supports both forward and backward. Next, by default, okay, by default cursor is what? Forward only cursor. Okay, now by default cursor is forward only cursor, and forward only cursor supports forward navigation, but doesn't support what? But doesn't support what, sir? Backward navigation. By default, cursor is forward only cursor and supports forward only cursor supports forward navigation, but doesn't support backward navigation. Okay, then next. If cursor declared with what? If cursor declared with what? Scroll, then it is called what? Scrollable cursor. If cursor declared with scroll, then it is called scrollable cursor, and it supports what? It supports what, sir? Both forward and what? Backward navigation. If cursor declared with scroll, then it is called scrollable cursor and supports both forward and backward navigation. Okay, next. And forward only cursor supports only fetch next statement. Forward only cursor supports fetch next statement. Okay, it supports only one statement, that is fetch next. Whenever fetch next is executed, it is moved to next record, next. So that's why it supports forward. But scrollable cursor supports the following fetch statements. Scrollable cursor supports the following fetch statements. Scrollable cursor supports the following fetch statements. What are the fetch statements? So it supports fetch first, fetch next, fetch prior, fetch last, fetch absolute, and fetch relative n. A scrollable cursor supports these fetch statements. Fetch first, fetch next, fetch prior, fetch last, absolute, and relative n. Okay, then fetch first, next, prior, last, absolute, and relative n. Fetch first. What? Fetch first. Then what is this? This one fetch what? Fetches first record. This fetches what? First record. First record from cursor. This will fetch what? Fetches what? Next record. When fetch next is executed, cursor is moved to next record. Fetches what? Previous record. Fetch last. Fetches what? Last record. Fetch absolute n. Fetches what? Nth record from first record. Fetches nth record from first record. Relative fetches what? Nth record from relative means from current record. Okay, absolute means fetches nth record from first. Relative means fetches nth record from current. Okay, now Okay, na? Then so fetch first, fetch next, prior, last, absolute, and relative. Suppose, for example, 1 second. This cursor contains what? 10 records, 8, 9, 10. You say absolute 5. If you say absolute 5 means, so the cursor is moved to what? Fifth record, starting from first record, fifth record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So cursor is moved to fifth record. If you say absolute 5, you say absolute 10. Cursor is moved to 10th record, absolute 10. Now cursor is at fifth record. Cursor is at what? Fifth record. You say relative 5. Relative 5 means starting from fifth record, it will move to the next fifth record. Relative always starts from current. Absolute always starts from first. So you are at fifth record. You say relative 5. If you say relative 5, it will move to the next fifth. What are the next fifth? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means it is moved to 10th record. It is moved to the 10th record. Okay, now? Then absolute 5 means fifth record. Relative 5 means starting from fifth record, it will go to the next fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all. Oh. Okay, na? Then relative. So that is what difference absolute and relative. Okay. Then, for example, write a program to print employee names, to print names from last to first. Last record to first record. I want to print the names from last to first. Last record to first record. What? Last to first. Then what? So declare a cursor, declare C1 cursor. Next, what you have to say? Scroll for select what? E-name from EMP. Because see, if this is not there, then this is forward only cursor. By default, cursor is forward only. But you want scrollable, then scroll. So now the cursor becomes what? Now the cursor becomes what? Scrollable. Now the cursor is scrollable cursor. Declare C1 cursor scroll for select E-name. Next, declare a variable. Declare a variable for name. Name what? Varchar. Varchar of 10. Open cursor. Open C1. Open the cursor. Cursor is open. Then what? Fetch. See, you want to print last two first. Where you want to start from? Last record. How to start from last record? Fetch last from C1 into what? Name. So this last record is fetched. Last record is assigned to name. Next one. While fetch status equals to 0. Begin. Begin. Print what? Name. Print name. Last name is fetched. Last name is printed. But if we say normal cursor, will it support this fetch last? No. Okay, now? So it supports only one. What is fetch next? Only scrollable cursor supports all the fetch statements. Next one. I want previous record. Now you're at 14th record. You're at 14th record. I want 13th record. Then fetch prior from C1 into what? Name. This fetch statement fetches what? Previous record. What is the previous record? 13th record. So condition true. Prints 13th name. Fetch statement move to the previous record. What is the previous record? 12th record. Condition true. Prints 12th employee name. Fetch statement fetches what? Fetch statement fetches what? 10th record. Like that. This goes up to, okay, now first. Okay, now then. So close C1. Previous program goes from first to last. Now this program what? Last to first. So deallocate C1. Okay. Now, let's see, execute this program then. Now, so what? See that it is printing from what? Miller to Smith. Miller is the 14th row, Smith is the first row. 14th to first. Okay, then I remove this option, scroll. What is this cursor is? If I remove the option scroll, this cursor is forward only cursor. Then run this, it gives error. Fetch last cannot be used with what? Forward only cursor. You cannot use this fetch last. Okay, na? Because it supports only one fetch statement. What that is? Fetch next. Fetch next. It supports only one fetch statement, that is fetch next. You cannot use this fetch last. So then you have to declare what? Scroll. So cursor is scrollable cursor. So prints name and salary. That's all. Understood? Okay. Okay. Next, you try this. What is read a program to print every fifth record from EMP table. Read a program to print every fifth record. So print fifth record, print fifth record, print what? Fifth record, 10th record, print fifth, next one, 10th, next one, 15, next 20, 25. So like that, print what? Every fifth record from the table. Okay then. Hmm. Please.